On December 25th, 1991, the red flag of the Soviet Union was lowered over the Kremlin for the last time. After nearly 70 years, one of the world's most powerful empires, the USSR, had collapsed. But how did a superpower that once rivaled the United States fall apart so suddenly? The Soviet Union was born in 1922, out of the Russian Revolution, built on the ideals of communism, equality, unity, and central control. It became a global giant as it defeated Nazi Germany, developed nuclear weapons, and sent the first human to space. But behind the image of power, cracks were growing. By the 1970s, the Soviet economy had slowed down. Why? First, the system was centrally planned. Every factory, farm, and shop was controlled by the state. That meant no competition, no innovation, and no incentive to improve. Second, billions were spent on the military and nuclear weapons, leaving little for consumer goods. Third, corruption and bureaucracy made decision-making painfully slow. And finally, when oil prices fell in the 1980s, one of the USSR's main sources of income, the economy was pushed to the brink. People faced shortages, empty stores, and long lines for basic goods. The system was rotting from the inside. In 1985, Mikhail Gorbachev came to power, determined to save the failing system. He introduced economic restructuring, openness, and free speech. But instead of fixing the system, the reforms exposed its weaknesses. Citizens began criticizing the government openly, and nationalist movements spread like wildfire across the republics. The Baltic states like Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia were the first to demand independence, soon followed by Ukraine, Georgia, and others. In August 1991, communist hardliners launched a coup to stop the disintegration. Tanks rolled into Moscow, but the people resisted. Boris Yeltsin stood on a tank and rallied the crowd. Within 3 days, the coup collapsed, and so did the Soviet Union's authority. On Christmas Day 1991, Gorbachev resigned. The USSR dissolved into 15 independent nations. The Cold War ended, and the United States stood alone as the world's superpower. But for millions of people, the fall of the Soviet Union wasn't just political, it was personal. It marked the end of stability and the beginning of a new, uncertain world.